Good evening, dear friends. Today I have a declaration on the supranationality of the Slovak Republic of Christ's years, and I am glad that we commemorated it with dignity on Saturday in Stara Bistrica, in cooperation with our mayor and MP Janko Podmanicki. In Stara Bistrica, I said that I put a line between supranationality and sovereignty, that these are not historical concepts for us, but an approach, a method by which we approach important political decisions. It is therefore symbolic that today, on July 17th, we completed the first stage of the fight with the impeccable proposal of the European Commission to stop after January 1st, 2028, any supply of Russian gas to the European Union. I repeat it 1,000 times. It is ideological, and the consequences of the proposed proposals against Russia primarily damage the competitiveness of the entire European Union and personally harm the Slovak Republic. The European Commission violated the principle that a question such as the ban on the importation of Russian gas should be decided unanimously. The Commission is aware that it would not get consent from all 27 states of the European Union, so it proposed this harmful proposal as a legislative initiative for approval of which, it claims, constitutes most of the votes of EU member states. Slovakia, therefore, does not know how to vote on the proposal of the European Commission on this issue, and it is clear that the mood in the EU against Russia is so crazy that the proposal will pass, even if we all in Europe should die of hunger and cold. Slovakia, of course, will vote against it. Since there is no room for harm behind our table, as Roman Kaliski, one of the founders of the Declaration of Independence, said, we decided to fight against the proposal of the European Commission, even though we cannot ban its approval. As a tool of political pressure, we used the proposal of the 18th sanctioned barricade against Russia, on which the absolute majority of EU member states are absolutely dependent, but the approval of which requires the consent of all EU member states, including Slovakia. Dear friends, despite a huge wave of threats, hard words, and criticism, we voted on the proposal of the 18th sanctioned barricade 6 times. Can you hear me well? I repeat, 6 times. And during this time, we pushed the Commission to pay attention to the Slovak Republic, primarily due to the impact of the ban on the import of Russian gas to households and businesses. We definitely succeeded. The nervousness on both sides of this battle can be cut with a knife. I think it is right to inform you that we have won the first stage of this battle. We have at our disposal the written commitment of the European Commission, signed by its chairman and approved by the entire committee. Yesterday and today we have announced and confirmed the content and method of fulfilling these guarantees. The confirmed guarantees concern the price of gas and its possible shortage, as well as the possibility of creating a crisis situation at extremely high prices and a shortage of gas, which would lead to crisis solutions until the ban on importation of Russian gas is abolished. Today, Slovakia is already paying 100 million euros for the compensation of high energy prices. Therefore, we have offered the European Commission the opportunity to use funds, European funds, to compensate for high gas prices, as is the full participation of the European Commission in the case of arbitration for the non-fulfillment of the bonds flowing from the contract with Russian Gazprom, which is valid until 2034. The Slovak government and the Commission have also agreed other internal guarantees, in addition to the official list of the Commission's chairwoman. However, this does not change the fact that we will never support the proposal to stop the flow of Russian gas after January 1st, 2028. At this point, dear friends, it would be counterproductive to continue to block the 18th sanction package tomorrow. All possible sanctions have been exhausted for the time being, and a delay in our blocking position would be a threat to our interests. I am speaking openly about this, and I know what I am talking about. As I said a few days ago, whoever wants to live with us must live with us. We simply have to survive this black period of this international organization, which we consider our living space. Therefore, I urge our representatives in the European Union to clear the way for the 18th sanction package tomorrow. Immediately after that, however, the second stage of our competition with the European Commission in the matter of Russian gas begins. We have approved a clear plan to fulfill our national interests. We have created an action team responsible for achieving the guaranteed guarantees, as well as strict control mechanisms. If all this were to fail, I would like to remind you with a smile on my face that the Brussels officials, torn from reality, are already working hard on another unnecessary, this time the 19th sanction package, which will not change anything about the Russian position, but which requires unanimity, i.e., a Slovak voice. We know what we want to do. It is quite easy for us because we have the truth, and the Commission knows that we have the truth. I would like to thank you for your support. Let's move on. Sovereignly, supremely, dignifiedly, and finally a one-sentence question. What would happen if the government were led by PSK today, i.e., obedient Slovakia? The 18th sanction package against Russia would be approved on the very first day, without any guarantees for Slovakia, and the Commission's indecisive proposal to cut off from Russian gas would welcome obedient Slovakia with great shock. Of course, the European Commission would look at obedient Slovakia's representatives only because they did not bother them with any Slovak national state interests and did not interfere in the implementation of ideological and harmful decisions based solely on the presence of the Russian Federation. Good evening.